The unforeseen, shocking reveals, otherwise known as plot twists, exist throughout the entirety of One Piece. Some are small and easily forgotten, but some are game-changing and truly world-defining. And today we're going to be diving through the truly unbelievable plot twist that left me and many of you on the edge of your seat and shocked to see what was to come. So with that out of the way, let's get right into it. Starting with the smaller but just as unforgivable twist that Oda-sensei pulled at the end of Alabasta. You see, Sir Crocodile had a fail-safe plan put in place to guarantee his victory. This plan came in the form of a massive bomb. But that alone isn't the twist that we're talking about in this video. No, the twist that we'll be discussing is what came after Pell seemingly sacrificed himself to stop the bomb and save both Vivi and Alabasta. It's the sudden reveal that he was still alive. This had me both shocked and a little pissed. Like, Oda-sensei played with my emotions in that moment, and I haven't been able to trust anyone ever since. He's truly an evil genius, and I'm kinda here for it. But next we have one that not only shocked the entire community, but quite literally changed the direction of the show and how we forever view the Straw Hats allies in the series. It was the reveal of CP9 in Water 7. More specifically, the twist that Lucci, Kaku, and the others were actually members of the secret government agency. Like, I really don't want to downplay what Oda-sensei did with this plot twist, because in any form of media, it is extremely hard to pull off a betrayal to any degree of success. Because for it to be done right and still remain satisfying, the writer, which in this case Oda-sensei, has to drop hints along the way. And a lot of the time, these hints tend to give away the identity of the traitor before its time. But in the case of CP9, Oda-sensei managed to keep their identities a secret all the way to the big reveal, which is just one of the many times Oda-sensei displayed his incredible talents for storytelling. Moving on, we have the reveal of Luffy's family tree, which is still seen as the strongest bloodline in the series so far. Hell, his granddad is the hero of the Navy Garp, and his dad is the most wanted man on Earth, as well as the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Dragon. Like, this reveal didn't completely shock me, but made it more clear as to why Luffy actually is the monster that he is. But not only that, as he is the youngest brother of Ace and Sabo, two incredibly strong characters who work directly underneath some of the strongest individuals in the entirety of the series. But now for the most intense plot twist and moment to ever exist in the series. It's the separation of the Straw Hats and Sabo Odi. This arc had so many highs and ended on potentially the second biggest plot twist to ever grace One Piece, the defeat of the Straw Hats. You see, up until this point, no matter who we'd face or how strong they may be, we'd always find a way to win, usually in the form of a certain Straw Hat boy. But this time, it was different. This time, Luffy and the others had the full might of the Navy, admirals, and even warlords like Kuma to deal with. But despite all of this, I still believed somehow he would win. Somehow Luffy would find a way to defeat Kizaru and Kuma and save the others. But I couldn't have been more wrong. For this moment marked a turning point for everything One Piece. This moment changed Luffy and the others forever, as well as sending the series in a whole different direction. It's easily one of the most important arcs in the entirety of One Piece, and honestly I can't see anything topping it anytime soon. But now next we have a less impactful plot twist, but one that honestly still had me saying what the fuck at the time of its reveal. It's the twist that Raizo was safe. You see, throughout the entirety of the Soul arc, there was this background tension displayed between the Mink tribe and the samurai of Wano. There were all sorts of hints that if the samurai were to be discovered, then there would be trouble. A lot of trouble. But this is where Soul began to stand out compared to the other arcs of One Piece, because Soul would go on to be so unique in so many ways. Like in One Piece, it's all too common for a random conflict to take place and take over as the main central point of the whole story arc. But in So, something felt different. Like with the entire flashback featuring Jack's invasion and the hunt for Raizo, it began to give the overwhelming impression that the people of Wano were responsible for the 5 days and nights of brutal tragedy that befell the poor Ming tribe, which would only go on to deepen whatever grudges these two seemingly had. But when Inuarashi and Nekomamushi fell to the floor and exclaimed that Raizo was safe, I was at a complete loss for words. This was such a masterfully set up plot twist that hit so hard, because at the very moment of its reveal, you realize that the pain and suffering that the Mink tribe went through was all for the sake of a bond rather than a grudge. It was one of those moments where the character's emotions transcend the animation into reality, leaving you in a sense of what now? It's an experience that every anime fan knows all too well, but one that is very rare to have happen to you when watching One Piece, at least for me. But next we just have to mention the reveal of Ace's parents, more specifically his dad, Gold D. Roger, or as he is more commonly referred to as, the Pirate King Gold Roger. This was surprising to me and so many others, because at this point it was kind of just assumed that Dragon was his old man as well as Luffy's. Like, they kind of look alike, and if anything, Ace's personality suits Dragon more than Dragon suits Luffy. So it just kind of made sense, right? No? Maybe it was just me. But nevertheless, this was a shocking reveal in an arc that already had so many twists and turns. And this also leads into the next shocking plot twist that came in the very same arc. It's the death of Ace himself. You see, up to this point, Ace had an aura of plot armor around him that could rival even Luffy's. Because as mentioned, he was the son of Roger, adoptive son of Whitebeard, and he had the main character Luffy by his side, as well as the entire Whitebeard pirates backing him. Like, once he was freed, he looked untouchable, but this was all part of Oda Sensei's bigger picture. He wanted us to think that the war was going to have a happy ending, because when he took that idea away, all that was left was heartache and shock. And honestly, this death in many ways made One Piece what it is today. Like, I'm sure you all can agree, without the death of Ace, many most likely would have dropped the series by now, due to the lack of any real suspense. Like, in my opinion, any series needs to maintain some degree of fear in its viewers that this character or that character might die if something doesn't happen. Like, maybe it's just me, but shows where no one dies and everyone lives happily are just boring and predictable. Like, maybe it's morbid to think this way, but give me more depth and emotion in One Piece because it makes the show far more entertaining. But before we dive into the two biggest plot twists of all, I'd first like to talk about the shocking twist involving Dragon. You see, Dragon first appeared in chapter 100 of the manga, and has been seen as not only one of the strongest characters in the series, but also potentially one of the most important. He is the son of Garp and the leader of the Revolutionary Army, meaning he's just gotta be important, right? Wrong. Because for over 1,000 chapters, this guy has done absolutely nothing. And I think that has to be one of the most underrated plot twists of all. Like, the guy that we all believe to be a key player in the world of One Piece is potentially One Piece's biggest fraud, which to me is just hilarious to think about. But next we have the one and only moment that has never been done before and most likely will never be done again. It's the reveal that Blackbeard has eaten 2 devil fruits. This twist of plot, or plot twist if you may, is among the most shocking and game-changing in the whole series. Because the setup for Blackbeard to be important was always there, but nobody could have saw this coming. Blackbeard in that moment went from just another big bad that Luffy would beat one day to potentially the most dangerous villain of all time. He is the end game boss. But even this plot twist pales in comparison to the next on the list. It's the reveal that the fruit we had seen in 1,000 episodes isn't actually the fruit we believed it to be. The Goma Goma no Mi never existed. In fact, it was just a figment of Luffy's imagination. His true devil fruit is actually the mythical sun god fruit modeled Nika. And it's a power that potentially has no limitations. It's said to be the craziest fruit of all and has even been seen to strike fear in Emu and the Gorosei. Nika, that is Luffy, is also said to be the bringer of freedom to the world. And after his defeat of Kaido in Wano, even I'm starting to believe it's possible. With that, that's going to do it for me in this video, explaining all of the major plot twists that have developed One Piece into what it is today. If you can think of any other plot twists that I failed to mention in this video, then please tell me down below. Because in a series with over 1,000 episodes, it's very likely that I have missed 1 or 2 or maybe even 10 plot twists throughout the storyline. So please tell me down below any that I may have missed. But that's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and peace.